to sleep. Have you ever dreamed of your family? A pretty cool character from the Bible did. His name was Joseph. No, it's not the father of Jesus. This Joseph that we're going to meet lived right before Jesus' father. Joseph was a very good boy. He loved and obeyed God and his father Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons, but Joseph was the one he loved the most. Joseph was 17 years old and took care, along with his brothers, of his father's flocks. Because he trusted Joseph so much, Jacob asked him to keep an eye on his brothers and tell him if they did anything wrong. Also, Jacob gave him a very beautiful and colorful robe. It was a very special gift. Jacob's preference and gift made Joseph's brothers very upset and jealous of Joseph. Once, Joseph had 2 dreams. In them, his family bowed before him. When he told his father, as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" Genesis 37:10. Joseph's brothers were very angry with him because of these dreams. A few days later, his brothers went to work in a town close to home. Joseph's father asked him to check on his brothers and bring him news of them. When the brothers saw Joseph coming, they began to mock him without him hearing. "Here comes the dreamer." So they had a very ugly and sad idea. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Genesis 37:20. Reuben, the older brother, did not agree with the idea and said to leave Joseph in a hole. Reuben actually said this to give him time to save his brother Joseph. They grabbed Joseph, ripped off his robe, and threw him into the hole. They saw a group of people who bought and sold slaves, so they decided to sell Joseph to them so that their father would not know the true story. They took Joseph's robe, tore it, and smeared it with animal blood. Arriving home, Jacob was told that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. How evil! They sold their brother and still lied to their own father. Jacob was so sad. He cried for many days. How much pain for a father to bear. Can you believe that Joseph was sold again? That's right, but this time he was sold to a man named Potiphar, who was the head of Pharaoh's guard in Egypt. Potiphar was very fond of Joseph and trusted him. Joseph was responsible for looking after all of Potiphar's things, but Potiphar's wife fell in love with Joseph. But Joseph knew it was wrong, and he wouldn't do anything bad against his boss and against God. So he rejected Potiphar's wife. She lied to her husband, saying that Joseph had done bad things to her. Joseph was arrested. A lot of bad things happened to Joseph, right? But he never stopped believing and being faithful to God. And God never stopped taking care of him. One day, 2 prisoners had dreams they didn't understand. So Joseph, with God's help, explained the meaning of the dreams to them. One of them would be freed and work with Pharaoh. Joseph asked this prisoner to speak of his innocence to Pharaoh. Sometime later, Pharaoh had dreams that he could not understand. He dreamt of 7 heads of grain that were healthy and good, 7 heads of grain that were thin and scorched, 7 cows that were sleek and fat, and 7 cows that were just skin and bones. Joseph's friend told Pharaoh that he knew someone who could interpret his dreams. So Pharaoh sent for our friend Joseph and told him the dreams. Joseph said that God had revealed the dream to him. The 7 heads of grain and fat cows meant that Egypt would have 7 years of plenty of food and plenty of abundance. But soon after, there would be 7 years of extreme hunger all over the world. Pharaoh recognized the greatness of God and the wisdom of Joseph. So he made him the governor of Egypt. Joseph prepared all of Egypt for the famine and stored food during the 7 years of plenty. Only Egypt had food for this difficult time period. The famine reached the city of Joseph's family, so Jacob asked his sons to go to Egypt to buy food. Arriving there, they bowed to Joseph, fulfilling the dreams that Joseph had when he was young. This happened many years later. Therefore, the brothers did not recognize Joseph. But Joseph had not forgotten them and knew that they were his brothers. However, Joseph did not reveal his identity. To test his brothers and see if their hearts had changed, he set up a situation with Benjamin, the youngest brother. Joseph hid a silver cup in Benjamin's backpack, accused him of stealing, and because of that, he would be a slave in Egypt. His brothers went into despair, for Benjamin was Jacob's favorite, and they begged for their younger brother's life, saying that Jacob would die of grief at losing Benjamin. Joseph, very moved, realized that his brothers had changed. Joseph could no longer keep a secret. He revealed himself to his brothers and forgave them for hurting him in the past. Everyone hugged. Joseph asked them to move to Egypt and bring their father Jacob. Jacob could barely contain his joy when he discovered that Jacob was, in fact, alive. What an incredible moment! The family that suffered so much managed to forgive the things of the past and is now reunited and full of love for each other. Do you see, little friends? Family should always be like this, united, full of forgiveness, loving, and always caring for one another. And what can we learn from Joseph? That in life, we can live good days and bad days, but God already has all of our days written down and is with us at all times. Joseph went through many hardships and even injustice, but in the end, he was a great hero to his family and people. God never abandoned Joseph, and he will never abandon us. This was one more story from our 3 Little Words bedtime stories. Now close your eyes and have sweet dreams.